Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Ashley Parker, but I go by my last name, so you can just call me Parker. And I'm the Health and Wellbeing Specialist in Risk Services. So I make workshops and I run programs that help support the health and well-being of faculty and staff here at UC Santa Cruz. I'm also a certified yoga instructor, so I'm really excited to talk about all things fitness and how to add it into our days. So if you've never worked out a day in your life, or if you used to do a lot before, but you're not really sure how to start adding it back into your routine now, we'll cover all of that. So before we get into everything today, I'd like to invite you to think about what is your why. So all of you have made a choice to take a step to improve your health by signing up and being here today. So think about what was it that is inspiring you. There's a whole bunch of benefits for adding in more activity. So whether it's to feel more energy, to boost your mood, or you want to be around longer for your family, whatever it is, keep it in the back of your mind, and that'll really help you moving forward. All right, to start, I'd like to take a little poll. So I'm wondering, how many days of intentional movement do you want to add to your day? So it looks like we have a little bit of a distribution. Some of us want to do a couple days additional, and some of us are ready to go 6 or 7 days a week. So all options are fabulous wherever you are, whether you want to add just a little bit or are ready to go all in. That is great. And we all start off at different stages, and we have different skills available to us. So no matter where you're starting at, you're doing great. Alrighty. Thank you everyone for sharing too. I love to get to know where everyone's at and what our intentions are, because taking a moment to think about that for ourselves is helps to really set the stage as we move forward. We're here today because we know that adding in physical activity and moving our bodies is good for us. But what does that really mean? We have here a whole laundry list of benefits that we gain from adding in more movement, and that's absolutely incredible. And moving our bodies is really one of the best ways that we can help to improve our health. In the short term, we have some immediate benefits like having more energy, thinking more clearly, having more focus, and also improving our mood, decreasing stress. And research shows that adding in physical activity can help to reduce feelings of anxiety and depression. And after we get out and move, we've done something, we've made an effort for ourselves, and maybe it was even a little hard, so that can give us a boost of confidence. And since we are using energy throughout the day, that can even help us sleep better at night. And in the long term, research shows so many health benefits in so many different aspects of our lives, like seeing decreases in Alzheimer's, in cardiovascular disease and certain cancers, and also metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes. And we also see a reduced risk of injury and independent living later on in life too. The really great news is that a little bit goes a long way, and we see the greatest benefit from going from no movement a day to adding in any amount of movement in the day. So everything matters, all movement matters. We know we need to move our bodies, but the question is how much? So we have some minimum activity guidelines to start off with. The first is getting 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity, or a combination of both. And this can be spread across the days of the week. It can also be condensed into a couple days depending on your schedule. And these are your cardio and endurance type of activities like running, walking, bicycling, And the reason why we're concentrating on moderate intensity and vigorous intensity is because at those levels is where we see adaptive health benefits like increasing our heart strength and also improving our cardiovascular system. So, how do we know what activity level we are at? If we're in moderate intensity sort of level, then you know that by your heart rate is increased, your breathing rate is increased, and you can still have a conversation while you're moving your body. It's about a 5 to 6 effort out of 10. And again, that's brisk walking, riding your bike, or even doing yard work. That might be surprising, but if you think about it, you're bending down, you're getting up, you're digging, you're carrying things, moving things around, and it all adds up. For vigorous intensity activities, you know you're here because your breathing is heavier. If you need to say words, you can get out a few, but you're not really able to have a conversation and you're definitely not able to sing. And this is more of a 7 to 8 plus intensity out of 10. And this could be jogging or running, which in my book are the same things, jumping rope or dancing. Then getting at least 2 days of muscle strengthening activities each week. And these are our resistance exercises or movements like that. And then getting in balance activities for folks who are 65 and older. But I believe that everyone can benefit from adding in balance activities, especially if you're someone like me who has kind of wobbly ankles. Doing things like standing on one leg or using a wobble board at your desk can be really helpful with that. Before we start moving your bodies, here are some good things to keep in mind. Hydration is really important, and the more you move your body, the more water you're going to need. As we probably all have known or have heard, our bodies are mostly water and our blood is made of water. And that's what transports the oxygen, the energy, and the nutrients to our muscles as we're moving more. Water also helps to regulate our body temperature with sweating. But keep in mind that as we are entering in winter and it's really cold, keeping in mind to be hydrated is really key because you don't feel yourself sweating as much, but you are losing water just the same. Then, before we get started with any moderate or vigorous activities, taking a little bit of time to warm up by doing something low intensity like walking or slow jogging. And if you're doing something strengthening or resistance workouts, you can use a lighter weight, no weight, or an easier variation. You're just trying to loosen up your muscles and get them ready to move, and that can help prevent injury before diving straight in. Then, after we are done moving, to cool down a little bit, doing something lower intensity again for a couple minutes, and then taking 5 to 10 minutes to stretch afterwards. And this is important because it helps to decrease our heart rate and our blood pressure in a more gentle and controlled way. And it helps to reduce some muscle soreness too, which we might run into as we add in new movements and increase intensities. After all of that, do listen to your body. It will tell you what it needs. If you're experiencing pain, just know that pain is never good. If you think that you're injured, contact your doctor. If you're experiencing soreness and you need to back off a little, absolutely do that too. If you're following a class and it's a little bit too high energy, take breaks as you need. This is for you. All right, now let's talk about a few different movement options that you might want to start out with. Starting with walking. Brisk walking is a really great moderate intensity activity, and it might even be one of the easiest things to add to your routine. It's great because it doesn't require any special equipment. It doesn't require special equipment, but just having comfortable shoes is all you need to get started. If you do want all of your 150 minutes of activity a week to be walking, but you're coming from 0 minutes of walking a week, don't feel like you have to all of a sudden jump into 30 minutes a day for 5 days. That might be a little too much. it might be a little hard to find all that time all of a sudden. So if you need to start out slowly and gradually increase as you go and incorporate all of these habits that go into getting out and moving your body, then that's totally fine too. Starting slow might look like going out for 10 and 15 minutes of walking a couple days a week. And then as your body gets used to getting out and moving and your brain gets used to making time for that movement, then you can start adding on more time. You can start adding on more days and more intensity. Also, if you need to repeat a week at a time, then you're absolutely able to do that. We know that for health, the most health benefits, we see it kind of level off at about 8,000 steps, and up to 10,000 steps is really popular as a walking goal. But again, if you're starting from something lower than that, all of a sudden going to 8,000 might be a little bit much. So if you need to ease into it, then that's perfectly fine too. Some things you might do is during your break, go out on a quick walk. If it's raining like today and you don't want to go outside, then there are walking workout sort of videos on YouTube, like the one shown here. I'll put that into the resources, and they're really fun. The different step patterns can even help to challenge your balance a little bit too. Or if you like hiking, All Trails is a really great website. It has a ton of hiking trails for all the areas and even a few trails in UC Santa Cruz. But luckily, here in the Bay Area, Central Coast area, beautiful outdoor spaces are so accessible. So there's something that you can find in your neighborhood even, and positive. Research also shows that when we get out and go into nature and experience the awe of the beautiful redwoods, being outside amongst the trees and plants and such is really good in helping us reduce stress too. And I believe that we all could use a little bit more of that. It looks like there's something in the chat. The Santa Cruz County Library has park passes. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, sometimes you have to pay to go in there, but if you can check that out or get it on reserve, thanks for sharing that. So as for running, I know running's not for everyone, but if you're curious or as your fitness level increases and you start to get curious, running is a super fun activity. I do think that it's misunderstood a little bit. And by running, I mean jogging, I mean also including walking, otherwise known as the run walk method. And I think that's a real game changer for people who are just starting out, but even for people who are regular runners and just want to change it up or train in a little bit different of a way. And to further drive that point home, if you are unaware, like I was up until a couple years ago, there are ultra marathoners who at one time run 50 to 100 plus miles all in one go, which is incredible. And they use the run walk method. No one will argue that they're runners. So if they can use that, then we can use that. Any bit of running is running. It is a vigorous exercise, so definitely ease into it, starting out with something like 1 minute of running, alternating with 1 minute of walking, and doing that for 10 minutes. You also don't want to be gasping for breath the whole time. So there's different breathing patterns that you can try out. The 2-2 is really popular. It's where you inhale for 2 steps, then exhale for 2 steps. I really like using a 3-3. So you can try different combinations and see what works for you. I also highly encourage you to adopt a mantra when you get out and run. When you pair that with concentrating on your breathing, it can be really helpful to take your mind just a little bit off of the fact that you are running. And I really like to use the Just Keep Swimming song from Dory in Finding Nemo. That really helps me to just keep going. When you are starting out, don't worry about time, don't worry about speed or distance, just concentrate on showing up. And when you get used to just showing up, then you can start adding all of that other stuff too. But go slowly. If you feel like you are ready and that you're strong and you go out from 0 to 3 miles and you can handle that, then absolutely. But if we're just diving in a little bit, increase from week to week as you go, maybe adding extra time, extra distance, but doing so in a slow and controlled way so that we avoid getting injured. And there are running plans all over the internet, like the Nike Run app, which is great for beginners and well-seasoned runners, but also the Couch to 5K programs that get you from running like 0 miles to 5K in about a month. And 5K is just over 3 miles. So we also have a UC Santa Cruz Wellness Week that will come up in spring that ends with the Run Like a Slug 5K, and we'll have our own Couch to 5K program. So if you want to join that, I'm very much looking forward to it. Next, we have strengthening exercises. So doing these at least 2 days a week, but also keeping 2 days of rest in between. So we give our muscles a chance to recover, because lifting and picking up heavy things or using our body weight breaks down our muscles a little bit. So we want to give them a chance to regrow and strengthen, as well as our tendons and ligaments. And doing the strengthening exercises also helps to preserve our bone density and protect against osteoporosis. Your muscle at rest just uses a lot of energy as it is. So we even see an increased metabolism as we start to get stronger too. But I do want to say that by strengthening, I don't mean that you have to go outside and then all of a sudden start training like a bodybuilder. Definitely start up slow if that's one of your goals. But any form of resistance, like you're exerting some effort, is strengthening. Maybe you're worried about bulking up too much. I hear this from women sometimes too. So just know that getting that really sculpted look, working out really hard, takes a lot of intentionality, it takes training, and it takes a lot of effort. So if you want to get there, know that it'll take a lot of time and it'll take a lot of effort too. So as someone who picks up a lot of heavy things, when I was working as a baker, I promise you're not going to immediately bulk up from adding strengthening to your routine. Who can start strengthening? It doesn't matter your age or your fitness level. Everyone can start getting stronger today. And the great thing is that you don't need a gym membership. As I like to say, the world can be your gym. And sure, you can use weights, but you can also load the car with all of your groceries or do body weight exercises. And then when you're done, taking a little bit of time to stretch, so that as we strengthen our bodies, we also stretch so that we can maintain flexibility and have that fuller range of motion of movement. So what are some different movements to get us started with strengthening? The first one here gives you some full body options that are equipment free and different variations depending on your level.
Here are 6 different exercises that together train your entire body and different ways to make them easier. Push-ups teach us to push, but you can learn them against the wall first. This might not be a real wall. And as you get stronger, you can do them at an incline. And pull-ups teach us to pull, but you can learn them against a pole or tree first. And you can lean further back as you get stronger. You can just use a strap, rope, or towel for this. Leg raises train your core. It is easier on the ground with knees bent, but if you straighten your legs a bit, you can split the difference and find a level that works for you. Hands under is sometimes a temporary workaround for back pain. We can train our legs and really our whole lower body with bodyweight squats and lunges. And we can start by assisting ourselves enough to stay out of pain as needed. You can also just not go all the way down at first and go lower over time as you get stronger. Bridges strengthen the back of our body, and you can start with glute bridges like this, or you can try leaning back from different angles. And finally, control twisting can help your body rotate smoothly, and you can train some of this mobility with twist holds. You can organize these exercises into a weekly routine and move on to harder exercises as you get stronger. Have a beautiful day.
All right. And a little while ago, we also had a workshop on adding more movement in your days at work if you work at a desk. So here are some ideas around that. Alrighty, hopefully just a little bit to get you started. Yes, that's me in the video. This was a workshop that I did. So if you want something to follow along, obviously I'll link this, but it's also on our YouTube channel too. So the point is to modify as you go, concentrate on good form, and there are plenty of different videos online that explain good form. So you don't need to go out and get a personal trainer. When you start looking into this, you might hear the words sets and reps thrown around. So a set is a group of exercises, and a rep is how many times you do that exercise. To start, you might do one set of 5 exercises, whatever it is, with weight, without weight, wall push-ups. Or you could do, for example, 3 sets of wall push-ups with 5 reps each. And in between each set, there's a period of rest, and that allows your muscles to relax, but also for your muscles to regain strength so that you can do more movement later. Again, progression is important to start out in a way that is not going to push you too hard, too far, increasing slowly over time so that you get stronger, but also your connective tissues get stronger alongside as well. If you're running or walking, increasing by 10% a week. If you're doing something like strength resistance exercises, adding in 1 or 2 reps after you get used to that, adding in an extra step, or even adding additional weight. If you feel like you need to stay where you're at for a little bit longer, then absolutely do that too. So everything that we've talked about so far kind of needs a block of time depending. But if you are someone who doesn't have a ton of time, exercise snacks and HIIT workouts were pretty much made for you. What's an exercise snack? It's a workout that's broken up into mini sessions throughout the day. So think 1 to 5 minutes of activity at a time, and you can use that to break up periods of sitting, or you can attach it onto habits that you already do, like if you wait for coffee to brew in the morning, or if you are waiting for the microwave to heat your food. Research shows that even doing short bursts of movement like this can boost your metabolic health. It can also help to improve blood sugar and boost our fitness. That is all without needing special equipment or a gym membership or a big time commitment. You can do things like stair climbing, fast walking, carrying something heavy. But if you also have a little bit more of a chunk of time, you might try high intensity interval training, otherwise known as HIIT workouts. And these alternate periods of higher effort with periods of lower effort. But don't let the name put you off. HIIT workouts don't have to be this super intense extreme thing. High effort is personal to you, and there are accessible options like on YouTube, or this poster is from the Darby website that'll link, and it has variations of jumping jacks and high knees, for example. And as someone who was very HIIT workout adverse in the past, starting with something like this is very doable. Now for balance, adding it when we reach 65 or older, but honestly, everyone can add a little bit of balance and see benefit too. And this can help reduce our risk of falls for all ages, especially for those of us who are a little bit clumsy like myself. And things that you do that help to strengthen your core and your lower body will also help with stabilization too. To start, you might walk heel to toe in a straight line as best as you can, or stand on one leg for a little bit using a wall or the desk to support you. And when that starts to get easy, you can maybe close your eyes for a bit more of a challenge. But if you want something a little bit more dynamic, yoga and Tai Chi are really great options too. So we've talked about a bunch of things so far. Of everything, share in the chat if anything sounded interesting for you that you might want to try, or if there's something that you already do that you're really enjoying. Now that we've talked a lot about moving our bodies, let's talk a little bit about rest and recovery. Having rest days and working that into our routine as well is, I would say, just as important as moving our bodies. So getting up to 6 days of fitness activities a week and working in at least one rest day. But also keeping in mind that as you get started, it's okay to take more rest days. Rest days allow our muscles time to relax, which also helps to prevent injury. And it also helps to start the repair process and possibly reduce some muscle soreness. But again, as we start new things or as we increase intensity, muscle soreness can be expected. And so just working up to that over time so it's not too much. Giving yourself rest days helps to make you feel more rested, but also help you to regain some energy. So if you've ever felt a little bit cranky because you're really tired, then you know that you feel better after you give yourself a little break too. Rest can be just completely off of movement, but there can also be active rest too, like walking around a little bit, gentle stretching. This is to just get our blood moving, even on days that we aren't doing more physical activity. This helps to clear out lactic acid from our muscles, but it also helps to transport extra nutrients like micronutrients, protein, and carbs to our recovering muscles so that we can get stronger and kick off that repair. Let's see, shorter activities like 35 to 40 minutes are quicker definitely than like your hour-long activities. You don't feel like you need to do a really long workout to get benefits. Doing something shorter saves on time and you still can leave feeling accomplished as well. So thank you for sharing. It's always a nice reminder to know that you don't have to do the most. Do whatever feels good. Thanks for sharing. If it so happens that you're still not a fan of exercise or exercise-like activities that we've talked about so far, I hear you, and that is okay. You don't have to exercise per se, but anything that gets you up out of your seat and moving your body counts as physical activity. So maybe doing something like dancing or a Zumba class. And there are free Zumba classes on YouTube too. Maybe you want to try something a little bit more dynamic like Pilates or yoga or a new sport like pickleball or rock climbing. If you bike to campus, that's a physical activity. So if you're already biking to campus or thinking about it, I'll share in the resources the e-bike options that TAPS provides that you can look into. Just doing your every day-to-day errands too, like chores around the house, counts as activity. If anyone else has any other ideas that they like to do or something that they're interested in trying, go ahead and share that in the chat too, especially so that we can find new ideas and learn from each other since we all like different things. And it looks like going to garage sales. Yes, you're definitely walking around looking at all the cool finds. Maybe you find something like, I don't know, a piece of furniture that's picking up heavy things. So, but of course, be safe, use good form. But anything that gets you out of your chair, out of your house. Thrifting, definitely a workout, yes. Do you like thrifting for clothes or for like household items? I know you can get everything, even like shopping and trying on new clothes. You're moving a lot. I know I always get a little bit warm while I do that. So that gives you an indication that you are in fact doing work and moving your body. So thank you everyone for your suggestions. If anything else comes up too, you can drop that in the chat also. So now we've talked about lots of things we can do, but let's talk a little bit about how to get these actually into our daily schedules. So first, we have to set goals. Sometimes when we embark on a fitness journey like this, what we have in mind can possibly be more of a long-term goal or an outcome that we want. For instance, if you go to the doctor and you find that your cholesterol level is a little bit high, so you want to add more physical activity to bring that down a little bit, I would say that's more of a long-term goal or outcome. But the goal itself is broken down into actions that you can perform to get you closer to that long-term goal or outcome. Goals need to be measurable so you can assess whether or not something's working, not necessarily that you're doing good or that you're doing bad, but letting you see if any adjustments need to be made if needed. For example, I like running, but I really have not done any running in a very long time. So one of my goals is to get out and run a mile 2 days a week. Ideally, I would really like to do more because I've done more in the past. But that brings me to our next point, which is meeting yourself where you're at. Is this something that's realistic? If I want to work up to 6 or 7 days of activity, do I have time right now, or can I start with less days and then build up slowly? And the idea is to build these habits because there's a whole bunch of little things that go into before you actually do the activity, like planning your clothes, what you're going to do, where you will go if you're going somewhere, if you need to find childcare. So working up small is totally fine, but sometimes things don't go according to plan and we need a little bit of a backup, and that is absolutely fine. So if you need a little bit of momentum to get yourself going, just take one step. If you're thinking about, oh, I have to get out and do this 1 mile run, that's so far off. But one thing that I can do right now is put on shoes. And that can be just the very first step that gives me enough momentum to keep going. But sometimes you might just not really feel it. So think now about what's a fallback 3-minute activity that you can do to still help you reach your goal. For me, that would be just walking for 3 minutes. Maybe I tend to go out and run, but if I just don't have it within me, I can still get out and walk for 3 minutes. And making it something really, really small to where it just might feel a little bit silly to just not do it is really key. And the reason why I stress that is, and being okay with imperfection, with not doing everything perfectly. Sometimes it doesn't go according to plan. So being okay with that and maybe not automatically reaching your goal all of the time, because if you intend to start out strong and you have this whole big list of all of the things that you're going to do, but maybe one day that doesn't happen, that can feel a little bad and it might cut off your momentum. And so finding something really small, like 3 minutes to keep you going. And really, we're just about showing up to begin with. So if you are at work, maybe one goal can be to do 10 sit-to-stands 3 times a day. But that doesn't really tell us when, where, or how. So we have implementation intentions that are phrased in when this cue, then I will this action. So when I get into work, after lunch, and before I leave, I'll do 10 sit-to-stands. So that's very clear and gives you a direction. But inevitably, there will be some roadblocks that we fall into. That's just the nature of building habits. And so here are some ways that will hopefully get you around that. Also, don't be afraid of not succeeding 100% of the time. Where we see habit building is when we're working through barriers like this. So if you're way too busy, you can't fit in an hour, remember you can do something shorter, like half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever works for you and your schedule. If you are really tired, you don't have to go all out if you're planning that 1 mile. You can do a walk if you're able to do that and your energy allows, or some gentle stretching. If you're not motivated, that is really common. Maybe you feel really energetic now, but our feelings change all the time. So show up how you can. Maybe even get an accountability buddy that you can share your fitness journey with, and they can help to motivate you as well. Maybe you feel too out of shape or not healthy enough, but anyone can improve their fitness by just getting started. And so it's not too late. Do whatever capacity that you can right now, and you can always work up. If a movement's too difficult or painful, be sure to back off and listen to your body. If you think that you're injured, reach out to your doctor. And if like a class or something is going a little bit too hard for your preference, then you have permission to back off a little bit. If you're feeling like you're not super athletic, don't worry. Most of us are not athletes, so you don't need to be athletic to get started. And for days like this, when it's rainy and you don't want to go outside, having that backup activity is going to be really crucial. We have a diabetes prevention program, and we talk about this a lot. So some folks like to listen to an audiobook and do standing marches at their desk during their lunch break. If you see a lot of people throwing a whole bunch of money at movement or exercising, remember that the world can be your gym. Your body weight is free, and you have books around your house probably. And then again, if exercising per se is not for you, then just find something fun and remember what your why is and why this is one of your goals. So when it comes to changing habits and making them stick, rewards are really important. We went out, we did something hard, and so we should get a little treat out of that. And as we remembered from Pavlov and his dogs, when you reward a cue, which is moving our bodies, then we're more likely to do that again. Do something small and fun for you, like wearing colorful clothes, listening to music. It might be personal alone time for you, or you can use it as social time. Again, getting an accountability buddy to share your journey, but also tracking like the workouts that you're doing, the activities that you're involved in. So when you're not as motivated, you can look back on that and see like, wow, I really have done a lot. And so showing up is really worth it. But also reflect a little bit, like, are you feeling stronger? Can you move more? Are you feeling better than you were? Calling back onto feelings like that can be really motivational too. All right, to close everything up, I know this is a workshop on fitness, but health and well-being is all interconnected. So a quick word about nutrition. Best as you can, keep good nutrition practices like getting enough vegetables and enough complex carbs and whole grains are really important to muscle recovery and strength building. So if you can look to this healthy plate and help to use that to make more balanced meals. Sleep is also really important too. And maybe surprisingly, muscle actually does its most repair and its most rebuilding during sleep. So concentrating on getting a really good calming bedtime routine and aiming for 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night will help to maintain good energy levels for you and also help with stress management. Thank you everyone for joining today. Remember, show up in whatever capacity. Feel free to start small. If you can do more, absolutely. Show up however you can and make sure that it's fun for you.